Coming up on ECG, Diablo turns 20.
Marvelous suffering sales.
I've been playing a bunch of games and watching a bunch of weird shows.
And I haven't played as many games, that is.
That's a travesty. All this and more coming up on the East Coast Geek Podcast. Welcome to episode 84 of the East Coast Geek Podcast for Friday, January 6th, I wrote 2016, and I'll be doing that for a while. 2017, where we bring you all the latest news on comics, movies, and gaming. I'm your host, Jeremy, and with me, as always, is Opu. Happy New Year to you, buddy.
Happy New Year to you, too, sir. How are you doing?
Great. It's a new year, and... Okay, nothing's really changed. It's fine.
Not yet, anyway. Maybe some stuff will change.
Right, yeah. Well, more games coming out. It didn't make it into the notes, but I know there was a trailer released for the new Mass Effect. I figured I'd get a chance to take a look at it this weekend and maybe throw it in next week's show, and maybe a little more information will come out, because CES is going on this week, so a lot of technology stuff, some new Vive software and hardware, and not new hardware for Vive, but peripherals that other companies are making, like a mock-up of a rifle and stuff like that for the first-person shooters and stuff like that, and the numerous amounts of other technology. What's the matter?
Speaking of which, since we're talking about Mass Effect real quick, Mass Effect 2 is free on Origin, I believe, right now.
Oh, is it?
Yes, so you might want to go grab that up.
Free on the PC on Origin, yeah.
Yes.
I bought that trilogy a while ago. I was actually thinking about picking it up because I never finished the second or the third. And I bought the trilogy a long time ago and tried playing through the first again, and I was like, I've already done this and this game is really long. While it was a great story, I don't think I need to go through it again. Especially after the conveniences of some of the first one, or the second one, I mean, so...
Second one is the best one.
Supposedly. I guess I'll have to see. Maybe I'll have to start doing a playthrough of that when I get downtime. Even though I've been off and on The Witcher and all that other stuff. I actually haven't played The Witcher in a while. I've been playing a bunch of other things besides Rainbow Six. I tried out Gang Beasts for the first time the other day, and for like 2.5 straight hours it was nothing but laughs. I can't edit the video on YouTube, so I have to actually download it and re-upload it, but hilarious. Stupid little throwaway game that I was given by a friend, and we played for a couple hours, and it's basically just like an 8-way arcade fighter in 3D space, and you can knock the other players out, and you can like pick them up, and the controls are like they're not articulated.
Wait, is it like they're like real rubbery and stuff?
Yeah, but you can grab with both hands. You can use the bumper buttons on your controller to grab the opponent.
And you drag them.
And you can drag them, or you can push Y and you can hold them up over your head. Or some of the matches ended with people just hanging on while everybody else fell off the match. So
yeah, I think my wife made me watch Markiplier play that one time.
Probably.
Not that one you're thinking of with the wiggly things going around.
I got back in. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, real quick. There is also the HRX 2017 is going on right now, right?
What's HRX?
So, it's an esports thing.
Oh, HRC.
HRC? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yep. That's going on. Our friend Thumbsy88, or maybe she's just going by Thumbsy, is there right now.
It's HRC, isn't it?
I don't know.
Which
Thumbsy,
game is
did you spell it wrong on your Facebook?
Might not. I mean, yeah. Go ahead and figure that out, and we'll find out. But yeah.
Anyways, what were you playing?
So I started playing Stardew Valley again. Actually, last night while we were playing Rainbow Six, I was in between. I got my laptop sitting right here, and I was just playing in between rounds because some of the downtime, it's like 20 to 30 seconds, and you can get a lot done in Stardew Valley on that.
Yeah, that's like an hour or so.
But I tried to do the different maps, and I think I still like the original map. I tried doing the Hilltop Forest one, and I feel like it's not enough land. Though I guess I probably should have stuck to it and kept going. Maybe it would have been alright. Because they don't... I mean, even on the basic land, I didn't use the whole area. But still, I felt like I was cramped as it was the way I put the chicken coop and stuff like that the first time I played. So, oh, go ahead.
I haven't played it since the original map. So how many maps... Do you know off the top of your head how many maps there are?
There are 5 right now that are in the base game themselves. The regular standard map, the Riverlands, which has a couple of, I think, rivers running through it. Josh in the chat room is playing on that. The Hilltop Forest. Can't remember what the third one is, and then there's a fourth one that's the Wilderness, and I guess in the Wilderness, monsters will attack every now and then. The farm itself, probably close to like a like Rune Factory or whatever.
Yeah,
that's like that.
Well, I was thinking. Yeah, I'd like to look at the other maps because most of the time on Harvest Moon, especially Harvest Moon 64, I would use crops just long enough to get the animals going because I found out they're faster to take care of because you only have so many of them you can do. But I'd make so much money anyway because you get the big jugs that I might have to make 1 or 2 crops, but
it's a little different in this one. I know the end game is more based around the making of jams and stuff like that, and the wines and the beers and all that, especially makes it a little easier. But yeah, the crops. I mean, what's that basic crop? It's not turnips. It's is it turnips? Parsnips.
Parsnips?
Yeah. That's a moneymaker. Josh says he's on mine level 70. I had actually, on my first run through, by midsummer or the beginning of winter, I had hit the bottom of the very first set of mines. Because there's a second set of mines later as you expand.
Yeah.
But
I only got into 60s, I think, because really I didn't bother exploring that much initially. That was always my first problem. So yeah, I guess I just need to restart the game. By the way, it is HRX. That's Hotel Romeo X-Ray. They're playing, I guess, Smite and Paladins. I've seen both of them kind of played a little bit. I don't know what else it is, but the trophies look cool. I haven't been able to watch any because I've been at work today.
I know there's okay, so it's okay. There's another tournament going on this weekend too. I think it's either Hearthstone or Heroes of the Storm or something. Something's going on this weekend. I think it might be Heroes of the Storm, the first tournament for that as well. And the last thing I've been playing, I put down Pokemon Moon, which I think I got most of my guys to like at least 20, and off the first island. I put that down in favor of trying to learn Yokai Watch because my son and I got the copies of the new game for Christmas. He got one and I got the other copy. And actually, after putting more time into it, I kind of understand some of the combat more. There's still some things I need to learn before I get out of this first game because I wanted to finish that before I, move into the new one. But actually, kind of neat. A little bit of a change. It is very, and I said this before. It's very interactive compared to the Pokemon games. So when you're doing the combat, you're actually when they get their soultimates, when they fill up their little soul gauge, you have to actually do either. You're like doing like a bubble pop thing in the watch face, or you're doing tracing characters and stuff like that. And you're constantly having to rotate and purify, which has another mini game, which is almost the opposite of what you're doing to do the big moves. So it's neat and very stylus driven, which is kind of cool because most other games aren't. And I highly recommend that dude that's making Stardew Valley put this damn game on the 3DS because I'd love a.
Oh man, now that would be perfect for me because I don't know. I haven't tried it on my new PC yet when I could actually use 2 monitors.
Yeah.
But the previous one, it was a little difficult for me. What I've been playing, I played WoW because somebody here got me into WoW and demanded that I be at like item level 810 or whatever it's called. Or is it higher?
I think it's either 810 or 820. I can't remember.
Okay, well, I'm at 810 now, so I've been doing that. And really just trying to go around and do the missions that either got me order resources or artifact power.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all I've been doing right now. Between that, I don't know if we talked last week or the week before, whenever it was, about Shantae and a Half Genie Hero. Did we talk about that last week?
We kind of off talked about it because it was in
okay.
the notes, and I figured we should at least mention it. But so you played through that, or?
Yeah, I beat that, and I 100%ed it because sometimes the games have two different endings depending on how much percentage you have.
Right.
And of course, the 100% is usually the true ending. Looks great, plays great. They brought back her transformations, which were missing in the last game, which are great. They move quickly, and you can actually upgrade them to transform faster.
Gotcha.
Still has that humor and that little, and I love that it's an ongoing story with the characters. It's kind of like, I mean, you can still jump in it and not really have to worry about it, but if you play the entire series, it does have like some kind of progression going on.
Right.
I missed like, I think the one before, the last one was the Pirate's Curse or whatever. I think I missed the one before that. But it's really, I think that was Risky's Revenge. But yeah, it's a great series. I highly recommend it. And, it's not that long. But one of the neat things is that they kind of changed it up from last time. This time you have more of a hub town where you can get side quests. The other time you found them in the different levels, and sometimes you'd have to go back and forth. So it does extend its playtime a lot with some side missions, which are they're kind of fun. But
I got you.
What else I've been playing besides Pokemon Sun? Which I think I'm up in the 60s right now with my characters. But I did get ahead of you. I've been playing Kirby Planet Robobot,
right?
Yeah, the robot one.
Yeah.
That is really fun. Again, pretty much all Kirby games are solid games, but this one has actually a pretty cool story with it. It's about basically this ship showing up and it's trying to roboticize their planet Popstar, and Kirby does Kirby's thing and just kicks everybody's butt. But it introduces some new characters, and it's really fun, really solid. Again, a lot of stuff hidden. I'm actually now trying to go back through it and to 100% complete it as well.
Nice. I mentioned too that I've been watching a bunch of weird shows. I started watching iZombie with the wife, which is a WB show, which can't watch too much of that. It's too toxic. Too much love story involved in the action stuff. So, excuse me, itches. But based on a comic book series, girl gets turned into zombie. Girl eats brains of dead people and has visions of how they were killed. Based on triggers from the environment, something happens and all of a sudden a memory flashes back in her mind after she's eaten their brains. And it kind of becomes the gimmick, and it's more like a police procedural, or kind of like a replacement for Castle, if you will, but with a zombie spin. And it was, like I said, it was based on a comic book series done by, I think, Vertigo, which is DC sub-label, right?
Right. Yeah. Yes, they own it, I believe.
Interesting, because they do the whole comic cut to the beginning where it has the little title bar that says, some little thing setting up the story or the scene, and then it goes from the really dense dot imaging print to the live action scene. So kind of neat how they did that transition. Interesting show. And then I started watching, and I haven't watched in a really long time. The wife and I sat down last night and started watching Twin Peaks.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
I thought I read online it was only a 45 to 50 minute, and I figured we'd watch it before I came down to play. So I'm sitting there watching, and I was like, how long is this? How much is left? And by the time I looked to find out, there's still over a half hour left. It's an hour and a half pilot, and then the episodes go to the 45 to 50 minute episodes. But really weird, discordant. The music's great. It's one of David Lynch's early shows. Back starting in the 90s.
He's best known for.
Yeah, probably. And I think he was linked to the coming back, but then dropped off the project.
Yeah, we discussed it a couple of times, but I don't know if it.
I'm kind of.
It's kind of dropped off.
Right. And that should be coming out sometime this year, I think, on Showtime. But yeah, really weird, very discordant. Lots of like dour environmental stuff. The music is very fitting for the depression that is that show. But then, you know, Kyle MacLachlan's in there and he's like all weird and all chipper and everything, just does not fit in the whole thing at all. I was like, man, I can't believe how different my viewpoint is on the show now as a more experienced viewer. But
yeah, that one does. It does help to have repeated viewings of that show.
Yeah,
to catch everything.
But yeah, that between that and the games, it's been a good couple of weeks after Christmas, and I know we had the show last week, the actually super mega, almost double show.
Yeah, that was a big one. Sorry about that, everybody.
Hey, it was good times though, sitting there discussing all that, and it was good to have Scott on here again to give us that different viewpoint. Because sometimes we skew towards the same direction, Yeah,
that's our problem. We might need to get somebody else on here so we could just have a scream fest.
Yeah.
The only show, my big show, unfortunately, they put season 11 of It's Always Sunny on Hulu and Netflix. So I binge watched that the other day. So I'm done with that show now until I get to season 12. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, they had their last episode for part 4 a couple of weeks ago. So now I'm out of that and I have to rewatch it. And I've been doing nothing but listening to music. And not just the JoJo music, but like remixes where they pull the Lazy Town music and mix it with Crazy Bizarre Town.
Oh my
Crazy
God.
Noisy Bizarre Town.
Not only are you watching JoJo over and over again, but you're also listening to the music.
The music is good. You gotta listen to it, man. I'm telling you, it's extremely catchy. Especially, I like the love that like they give not only the show itself, because it is a cultural phenomenon over Japan, but like even they appreciate their singers so much. Like the last theme song, they actually pulled all the singers from since part 1 into a big song together. Like the final version of it, they had all of them singing parts of it. It was really cool.
All right. Well, we've covered what we're doing. Why don't we hop into our first story here?
Yes.
Because man, this isn't looking good. I thought they were doing all right, but I guess not.
Yeah, this is from a couple of weeks ago. Apparently, retailers are getting tired of Marvel's poor sales. Bleeding Cool has been keeping track of Marvel sales, and with DC, this is from a couple of weeks ago, but DC Comics has absolutely dominated the sales for like the last couple of months, and at least the last couple of weeks, and 8 out of 10 of the sales have been continuously, well, between 7 and 8 of them have been DC titles. Things like Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, All-Star Batman, Justice League Suicide Squad, Detective Comics, Flash, Wonder Woman, Titans, and Haley's Little Black Book are some of the titles that have been in the top 10.
It's Harley's Little Black Book.
Did I say that? Oh.
You said Haley.
I'm sorry, Harley. I read it really fast. So Dark Knight 3 is number 1. Civil War 2, issue 8 last week.
Dark Knight 3 is kind of notable though, because that's basically the farewell of that series from who was the writer again?
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe it should have never had a part 3 to it.
Well, and I mean, we talked about that. We talked about that before on the show, especially with it coming up. But it should be his last on this. I think they said, or that he said that it was going to be his last dabble on Batman. So. It's been selling pretty solidly. Yeah.
Obviously, since it's number 1, Civil War issue 8, I think, was the last one of Civil War Part 2. So that makes sense that it would hit at least number 2. The only other one they've got floating Marvel right now is Star Wars, and obviously, like they're still coming off of Rogue One. Star Wars comics have always sold very well.
Well, it's Star Wars.
Again, if you didn't read that Darth Vader one, that was good. So, and here's some of the comments that retailers have been saying. Spider-Man / Deadpool was our best-selling Marvel ongoing for a while, mostly outselling Civil War and other events, but the oversaturation of Deadpool has caused it to finally calm down, dropping off a lot these last 2 or 3 months. DC Rebirth continues to sell to new fans, returning fans, and casual fans, while Marvel still isn't bringing any new customers with their Marvel Now books. and their longtime customers seem to be enjoying DC a lot more these days. Let's hope Marvel can turn things around in 2017, as all stores need the big two to be leaders. And while DC has stepped up to the plate, Marvel has some major issues to look over when it comes to pricing, content, and who's actually buying their books. That's really subtle right there. Who is buying their books?
Well, I mean, that's...
I'm not going to try to get on some political tangent, but...
Well, that's the thing, is I know we try to avoid the politics of it, but... We've talked about it multiple times. Their decisions in how they're going to continue their comics have been very questionable lately. It seems like they're trying to conform to political correctness more than just setting their own mold.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And I mean, I understand to a certain point because they're trying to gain other readers, but it's not succeeding.
Well, Marvel's been political before, and we'll try to keep this brief because there's a couple more notes. But Marvel's been political before, but they've done it in a way where like they kind of give both sides a chance to say something, and which is the best way to do it, and then let the reader come to the conclusion. That's what helps with these characters. They deal with the issues, but they don't always take a side. Or if they take a side, they realize their side is not the pure side of angels.
Right.
For an example, there was one of my favorite story arcs for Spider-Man was the Sin Eater story arc, where somebody was going around shooting people with a shotgun. So Spider-Man and Daredevil kind of worked together with it. And let me see if I remember it correctly. I know I just said it was my favorite, but it's been like 5 or 6 years since I've read it. So people start panicking because this guy with a shotgun is just going around shooting certain people that he deems evil.
Right.
And some of them have been, people of color. I guess that's the best way of putting it now. So this black preacher who was trying to rev people up to get them angry to start riots and stuff, because he was thinking that it was, just hatred to black people, was trying to call out a bunch of people. He tried to call out J. Jonah Jameson, and he kept talking about white people. And J. Jonah Jameson was like, "Excuse me, are you a racist?" He's got like Robbie standing right there. Robbie, that's arguably right there between J. Jonah Jameson and Robbie Robertson. It's probably the most pure friendship in comic book history. People think of Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man and the Human Torch and stuff. No, these guys have been best friends through thick and thin through times where it was not cool, no matter what the format, for two people of different colors to be friends.
Right.
And Robert Robertson was the only one that could make J. Jonah Jameson step down from something. And that's including superpowered people. Captain America could be staring him in the face, and he would still say no. So that just shows you the kind of trust he has in him. But so Spider-Man and Daredevil team up in this. Daredevil's on the side of the law. Spider-Man's more on the side of the will of the people, kind of, where he's like, no, if this guy, this person needs to be punished no matter what.
Right.
And whoever should do it. Well, they captured the guy, especially after Spider-Man almost killed the person because he ended up killing somebody he really cared about. And this mob got at him. Well, Daredevil went to try to stop him, and he got caught up in the mob because it was affecting his ability to hear and overwhelming his senses. Spider-Man was almost willing to leave him to the mob to be killed as well, and then jumped in at the last second. So, that's a kind of a roundabout way of saying it, but, it was kind of showing both sides. They also did that with Green Arrow, Green Lantern. That's DC, of course, but right. Just to give examples on both sides. But lately, Marvel's been leaning to one side of the spectrum and alienating a massive amount of their readerships on the other by saying they're wrong, and not saying, okay, listen, there are flaws on both sides of the argument. Our heroes need to deal with both these issues.
Right.
And even if they side with one side, they got to step back and realize, wait, I don't agree with all these ideologies or whatever. So I'm sorry that was a little long-winded, but
no, it's fine.
So to continue with that quote I was saying, the customers that actually purchase these books from stores has shrunk more than ever this last year, and it's going to take a miracle for Marvel to recover from this one. And another issue Marvel's having is that they're catering to MCU fans, the cinematics, which we pretty much all are fans, but those people are only buying for a certain amount of time while that movie's out,
right.
And they're thinking about it. They're not going to be those ones that a few months or weeks or even a year later are going to come back to the comic shop continuously because that story's still going on.
They're not able to distinguish the cycles that happen in the movies versus the comic book stands, because where you're publishing once a month, you're only publishing once every 2 years a movie.
Exactly, so they allow that build up to happen.
Maybe once every year if they're starring in another show. So.
Right. Basically, whenever they're thinking about them.
Right.
And comic fans, let's be honest, we're always thinking about these characters.
Right.
Here's another quote. We just closed out our best year of all time, best month, and our best sales week in history leading up to Christmas. But Marvel sales have never been this low in our stores in the last 15 years. That's almost since 2000, people. Things were a little worse for Marvel in the mid-90s. Hey, when they were filed for bankruptcy. They filed for bankruptcy in the 90s. But the rest of the publishers seem to be doing their part. Image, again, bunch of solid comics on Image. DC's hitting it out of the park because they're catering to new fans, they're catering to veterans.
That 90s,
all that stuff.
That 90s event is the reason why Sony has Spider-Man and Fox has the X-Men and all that.
Absolutely, yes. That's they had to do something to keep afloat.
That was basically the only way they saved themselves at that point.
And this next comic, I kind of looked at the comment section for it because I knew somebody would bring this up, and I wanted to mention this a few weeks ago, even way before, like maybe in November. But Marvel has actually been over shipping books to inflate what their sales look like. Oh, well, we shipped 250 issues of this comic, to this one store. Well, yeah, but they only ordered 100 issues of it, man, and you sent them 150 extra.
I think you mentioned that before because it was to the point where they were actually telling them to give away some of them. That way they were actually out on the street.
Right, absolutely. And some comic book sellers have mentioned that. They're like, yeah, I only ordered like 10 or 15 of this issue,
right,
and they didn't come in, but they sent me 20 extra on top of that. And that's an act of desperation, and that's not very good. And so you've got to look at, again, you need to respect your fan base. Sure, you can. They're the ones that are going to take care of you in your bad years and you, as well as your good years. And it's been a really good year for Marvel with the movies, several years with the movies. But they're thinking that I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. They're obviously not thinking.
In a related note too. Well, not related. Since we're pretty much done with wrapping that up. It's not in the notes, but I do remember hearing it on some other shows and all that. But Jeff Johns, guy from DC that was sent to fix the movies, is now back to the comics as well. So he's going to be having his hands back in. I don't remember which ones they said. I can look it up really quick, but.
While you're looking it up real quick, shoot, I had some. Oh, and let's go ahead and just talk about this real quick. So Sam Wilson's still Captain America, more or less, and now he's got a new Falcon sidekick. This isn't in our notes, so we don't have any photos or anything for it. But now the political story that they're going with is if this new Falcon an illegal alien or illegal immigrant, whatever you want to say. So that's the kind of stupid stuff that they're doing, as opposed to telling really cool, interesting stories. All it's going to be is almost a Daily Show skit for a story.
Right.
Maybe the guy will. Nick Spencer, I think, is the writer. Maybe he will actually be able to weave this into one of those. I hate to use the a more fair and neutral observation and let the person walk away with their own opinion. That's the best kind of morals to me, is like, here's the story, here's the information I put in there. You pick what you want from it.
Right. Which
is the way the original Civil War was supposed to be done in the comics. And as we know, that went over very poorly.
Okay, I've got it here. So in a series of tweets, he basically gave out like the next 5 things for this year for him, I guess. And the first one was number 5 was more DC TV, Flash, Arrow, Gotham, Legends of Tomorrow, Lucifer, Supergirl, and many more. One of which is to be announced soon. So he dropped a teaser, hey, they're going to announce something soon. IGN's article here speculates it might be something in the current DC universe, which is possible. They just introduced a character. I can't remember. I heard this on, like I said, I heard this on another show, and I'm trying to remember what they said. I think there's another character that could possibly get spun off from the main ones on CW. They were talking about like the fact of, which would be really interesting, Constantine. That's kind of a long shot because he's only been used a couple of times since. I think he showed up in Arrow or Flash. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, he showed up in Arrow.
Arrow,
I believe.
okay.
Oh no, or maybe Legends of Tomorrow. He needs a Netflix series or a Hulu series.
He needs something that's gonna
use him to his full potential.
Raise up that rating. Yeah. So there's also a chance that Sci-Fi's Krypton, which only has a pilot ordered so far, or Fox's Black Lightning, which is simply in development. Though, that was another thing. Well, you know what? Well, I'll roll that into the beginning of the TV show section. Because I forgot to write it in the notes, and I just remembered it just now. He also revealed on Twitter his number one out of the list of 5 was that he's going to be writing comics again. Stay tuned and Happy New Year. The last comic book he worked on was Rebirth, which did tease a connection to the Watchmen in the final pages, which could be interesting.
Yeah. I wonder how that ever paid off. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to go to the comic shop like I need to, but maybe I can pick up some trade paperbacks regarding it. But I really hope if he dives into the TV stuff that he removes some of the stupid love story. We don't care about the high school love drama crap. I want to see Flash fight Flash villains. I don't want to see him. Barry Allen doesn't need a team. He does not need the Arrow doesn't need a team of people.
Yeah.
I hate this. Why does it have to have a Scooby-Doo gang? This is not Buffy.
Arrow, you mean Felicity and Friends?
No, my God.
He's not saying that he's getting involved in it. He's just saying that they're going to be announcing a show soon. He's been overseeing the fixing of the DC cinematic universe and is finally catching a break, probably, or a lull in it that he can actually start writing again. He was just teasing some of the stuff that's coming up for DC, so I don't think he's going to have any direct hands-on in the TV shows. They're probably going to continue a status quo. Sorry.
Way to get my hopes up. I haven't even watched. I don't remember. I started watching season 2 of Flash. I forced my way through season 1 of Flash. It was so good at the beginning, and then it started this. Oh my! That love story. Here's the thing about these love stories. It would be okay if they would do something different, but almost always they're the same things. It's either like a Spider-Man one where the girl doesn't even know you exist, like in Flash, or it's going to be something like in Arrow where she ends up being the most important character in the story, and everything she does, somebody else could have done, you know?
Hey, you know what?
What?
I think I know what show he was talking about.
What show?
No, I'll wait till the TV shows, because we'll talk about it really quick, because you probably saw it. But, alright, anything else in the comics before I switch us over?
No, that's it, even though this next thing's kind of technically comic stuff, too.
Yeah, what? The what? Oh, what I'm talking about?
No, what I'm talking about. We're both talking about it's a dialogue, man. Come on.
My bad. All right. Well, do you got anything else with the comics or?
No.
All right. Let's go move on to the TV shows and movies. All right, I took us away from the pictures so I can switch it over to the next article. But first, he said very soon, and I was just thinking about it, and I was like, man, what was that preview I just saw? Did you see the new trailer or preview for Powerless?
No.
You haven't seen it yet?
No.
Looks hilarious. It's. I mean, you know what Powerless is. You've explained it before.
Yes, we've discussed it on the show.
The trailer came out this week, revealing what was going on, and trying to remember who else was in it, but Abed from Community. He's in it, and they're basically working for the cleanup. And this is probably going to play some audio. That sucks. Vanessa Hudgens as well. It looked really interesting. Alan Tudyk, Danny Pudi, and Ron Funches.
I guess I'll check it out. But
the preview looked really good. It looked pretty funny. It looked like what you'd want out of that extraneous type show. Kind of like, well, I mean, it's not the main comic book stuff. It's it's what not cleanup, but
damage control. Marvel's comic about the cleanup crews after superhero battles.
But this is the stuff
going on since the 90s.
But this is the one the
or the 80s maybe.
But the DC's approach is the prevention of any damage done by superheroes, or the prevention of bodily harm done by superheroes to the civilian population. Like Superman flying through a building without a care.
Yeah, like Superman accidentally slaughtering 1 million people.
But it looks pretty funny. I highly recommend check out the trailer just so you can see what it's like. But
yeah, I'll check it out at the very least, so we can actually talk about it on the show, maybe.
All right, here, boom! I'll drop the bomb. I'll put the picture up.
Boom!
Leslie Jones wants to be in Deadpool 2 as some kind of wacky sidekick. I want to be Blind Al.
You ain't got a Blind Al. I guess. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through the story. Ghostbusters star Leslie Jones is doubling down. During an interview on Late Night with Seth Meyers, which I've never seen, she spoke with host Seth Meyers about her recent entry to Ryan Reynolds, where she told him she wants a role in Deadpool 2. That is to say, she wants to play Wade Wilson's loud, superpowered sidekick.
Oh my God.
I would love to be the sidekick, just feeding him back the lines, she shared. It would be so much fun. Asked if she would want to have any superpowers, she added, I just want to be loud. I mean, what? And everybody's clothes just come off them? I love how she specifies she wants to be loud. You're always loud, Leslie. It's not funny. It's annoying, okay? And cliche. Okay? First of all, let me go ahead and break this down because I wrote some notes. Everybody, even the people that say, I love Leslie Jones, but no, this will not work. Nobody has said this would be funny. Nobody said this would be good. Deadpool doesn't need a wacky sidekick. He's the wacky one. He needs a straight man to play off of. That's what Blind Al was. That's what Weasel was. That's what Ajax was in a way.
Yeah.
You dunce. It's like you're a comedian, and you don't understand the basics of comedy. A wacky guy and a straight guy. That's where it comes from. Otherwise, you just have two morons screaming at each other, or two straight guys there just just talking about the weather or something boring.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Deadpool has really taken people that are passionate about the comics, or that are like, well, I'll take this job, and they read about the comics, and they really start enjoying them.
Right.
You obviously don't know about the superhero characters in the X-Men universe, like Banshee and Siren, which Siren is the daughter of Banshee. Yeah, and yes, I know that's a female name, but it's Irish, and they're supposed to be Irish, whatever. Which Banshee was in the X-Men First Class movie, which was absolutely hate that movie. So no. And basically it boils down to this. She thought that Ghostbusters was going to be her ticket to the mainstream film industry, but now that has failed, she wants to leech off another popular franchise and potentially ruin it. We need a Cable. We need more of Blind Al. We need more of Weasel.
Yeah.
We don't need another wacky person. Another wacky person would just be annoying.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like, I'm out of breath now. I'm, so frustrated with this whole concept of her being in the film. It would feel like Deadpool wouldn't even be able to get a line off without her saying, "Oh, hell no!"
It's every time I saw that Ghostbusters trailer, I was kind of annoyed by it because it's perpetuating a stereotype that's wrong. So,
you know what? Here's the thing: if it was like a funny stereotype, I'd be okay with it. But it's not even a funny one. Like Chris Tucker does a loud thing in his movies.
Yeah.
But he also is. His characters are usually lovable and energetic and passionate, and in their own way, kind-hearted from their perspective, I guess.
And then there's Ruby Rod.
And then listen. Okay, now normally in most films, I absolutely hate that kind of character, like Donkey from Shrek. I hate Donkey from Shrek. Even Mushu from Mulan, I don't like Mushu. Ruby Rod, I absolutely adore Ruby Rod because it was like in his universe, like Ruby Rod is the type of character that in his universe, he's extremely successful, extremely beloved, and extremely popular. Look at all those women that are absolutely obsessed with him. People are dying for his autograph.
The stewardess. He
happens to get to the wrong. He's like stepped out of the wrong genre of film.
Yeah, definitely.
And it works so well because it doesn't work for that type of film. Yeah. I don't know.
I still remember him handing him that gun and what do you want me to do with this?
And look at this. Bruce Willis played the straight man in that moment. Remember when he handed him he shoved the microphone? He's like, good or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things is that you could see Ruby Rod getting frustrated in those moments. Like he wasn't oblivious. Like Leslie Jones type characters she would play in a Deadpool film. You could see him trying to react to the non-energy that Bruce Willis was feeding him.
Right.
It's like he would try to grip his mic and stuff. That's how you do like a loud stereotype well. And it wasn't even stereotype for that universe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He was a radio host personality or a celebrity, so at least that's how I feel about it. But Leslie Jones, you're just not funny, okay?
Yeah. Hopefully this doesn't come to pass, and hopefully this too shall pass. All right, let's get into our last thing. I think we'll end
pass like a kidney stone.
All right, here, have this. All right, the only thing we got in gaming, Diablo turned 20 this year. This is the anniversary for the video game Diablo by Blizzard. I have very fond memories growing up back when I was younger, playing this game on end. This is probably my first endless dungeon binge game because you just kept going and going and going, and you wouldn't be able to continue, but they had the nice shortcut feature that like Stardew Valley has, where you go down 5 levels and you can use the elevator and
yeah.
Every so often, I think it was 10 or 15 levels into the dungeon, because it was a single dungeon. Where Diablo 3 and even Diablo 2 would change areas, Diablo 1 was all about Tristram in that main town. And you would get down so far, and then you would hit a checkpoint where some kind of crevice would show up in the town around, where you would be able to take a shortcut and get back down to that level, so you didn't have to go through everything again. It was even a neat multiplayer game. That was one of the early multiplayer experiences I was able to have when I was younger. Great game overall. Diablos 1 and 2 and 3 have all been pretty amazing. Especially for how long it's been around. I mean, it's the reason why we have these randomly generated dungeon games. Diablo was one of the first to do that. Because they're all generated on the fly. When you first enter a dungeon for the very first time, or a level for the very first time, it's all randomly generated right at that moment. So. And
more importantly, I didn't play Diablo younger, but it did the randomly generated dungeons right.
Yeah.
Or it was built around it. There are some games out there, I can't recall it specifically, but they had the randomly generated dungeons, but it would be a dungeon that had an item that had to be in there for you to progress,
right? And
it wouldn't generate, so you would have to keep going back and forth, things like that.
Yeah. And to celebrate, Blizzard's doing things in all of their titles, which is I guess status quo for Blizzard at this point when they have celebrations for things like this. The in-game events for Diablo 3 is there's a portal in the Old Tristram that will take you to old Tristram back in its its original state. They've even got a really crappy film grain filter over it, and your character only moves 8 ways. Instead of being able to smoothly move in an S, you go at an angle, and then you go straight, and then you go down, and I don't know why
it's like chess pieces.
Yeah, basically, it's one of those things. Like I said, with trying to go back and play Mass Effect 1 after playing Mass Effect 2, you just can't do it because so many things have improved over the time that it would feel awkward going back to that, anyways. But
or like. Maybe for some more recent people, like playing Pokemon now and then trying to go back and play the original blue or red or green, I guess, whichever ones. And I can't run in this and all this stuff.
Oh God!
If they get poisoned, they stay poisoned.
Yeah.
And Psychic actually dominating absolutely everything in the path.
Right. Anyway, so they add in the ability to go into the old cathedral again, and you do, I think it's like 8 or 10 levels, something like that, leading to a fight with the classic Butcher, which the original Butcher was really, really intimidating compared to his new form in Diablo 3.
Did they kind of nerf him a little bit?
In the old version or the new version? The new version, everything in Diablo 3, in their campaign in that. The bosses are a lot more fantastical. The Butcher is huge. Where the Butcher was probably double to triple the size of a regular character in the original Diablo. Looked like he had a peg leg and a huge Butcher cleaver. Like a regular Butcher cleaver, though. Maybe about that tall. But in the new one, it's like, the Butcher cleaver's like huge and all that good stuff. But then you get to and that was always a terrifying event because you didn't know it the first time, but it was a big surprise. It was like, oh my God, this guy's chasing me with a big Butcher cleaver. So then also leading to the fight with Diablo at the end, back to the classic Diablo, and I haven't gotten around to doing it yet, and I think I need to before Tuesday. I think it comes out of the game. So other things include the Treasure Goblin appears at the end of the Heroics and Mythics dungeon runs, and you kill him, and it'll open a portal to the secret cow level that we were always told never existed.
Yeah, I've seen that. Somebody mentioned that.
Queue up for some Heroics this weekend. The Cow King will actually drop a 12-string guitar toy, which plays an ominous tune, which probably plays a couple of the bars of the original song. And let's see. There we go. Let's see. The Herodic Satchel 28 slot bag, which is a huge bonus if you need it. And then moving into the Heroes of the Storm, they have the Battle for the High Heavens, which is a special brawl map that the brawls are a 5-on-5 match where you go back and forth with one lane instead of the normal 3 lanes of combat that are in the regular matches for Heroes of the Storm, as well as Diablo-themed portraits, and the same for Heroes of the Hearthstone. There's a tavern brawl with a hooded stranger, which is obviously alluding to the mysterious stranger from Diablo 2. No, Diablo 2.
No, Fallout.
No, Diablo 2. Why would it be wrong company that starts with a B?
Yeah, for the 20th anniversary of Diablo, we're going to do a special announcement for Fallout. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh jeez. Let's see. Hearthstone. Overwatch has in-game sprays and account profile pictures inspired by Diablo, which I'm sure has horns on every character or something like that.
Who's that character? Roadhog.
Oh God.
With the big hook.
Yeah, Roadhog.
They should give him a butcher skin. Now that you mention it.
Oh, that would actually be really cool.
Yeah.
The Butcher's actually in Heroes of the Storm. He made it in there along with the Skeleton King and who else? A couple of the other characters, but yeah,
now,
that would be neat.
Sorry to cut you off, but Diablo is one of the first games Blizzard made, so that's
no, actually.
Or was StarCraft before?
Maybe their third game.
Maybe
because Warcraft was one of their first ones.
Okay.
They were contracted to make a game for Games Workshop, which was going to be Warhammer's first entry, and then Games Workshop pulled out, and they said, "Hey, we can just make our own."
Oh,
make
yeah,
up our
that's
own
right.
lore.
I'm sorry. We've discussed
Yeah. No, it's fine. But then they also did The Lost Vikings, which is one of their original titles, which was on Super NES. And then they also did. They also had a hand in Superman 64.
I don't. That'd be really cool if they did something for the anniversary of that.
Oh, I don't. I think that's one of those ones they just don't want to remember.
Sorry to cut you off. I could have sworn that Diablo was like the first one, and then they started working on Warcraft. So that's my bad.
No, Diablo's a little bit later. Warcraft just hit its 20th a couple years ago, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah, that their first foray was really that Warcraft game. So, other than that, like I said, Overwatch and StarCraft 2 also Portrait. It's really the only thing they ever do for StarCraft anymore is throw a portrait in there.
Yeah, that's
because they're pretty much done with that. Well, they're done with it. I mean, it's
I know, but
product now.
But still, well, StarCraft was my first Blizzard game.
Yeah.
The StarCraft 1.
Yeah.
I wish I had gotten into Warcraft when it first popped up. I would have enjoyed it, especially as long as they had those StarCraft-like cheats in there, because I suck at real-time strategy games. But, I wish, I see people running around with the little, occasionally the pets.
Yeah.
The Zergling and stuff. Did they ever do one for Diablo like that?
Yes, the original World of Warcraft base game collector's edition. You could choose between Diablo, the Zergling, or crap. I'd have to look. I can't remember. I never got it. I wish I did.
To be fair, I would have totally went with the Zergling.
Yeah, and what's neat is the Murky the Murloc Marine that my wife got from one of the BlizzCon streams quite a few years ago. When they run into the Zerglings, they'll actually fight.
Oh, wow.
And either Murky will explode or he'll destroy the Zergling with his assault rifle.
And I'm assuming they just regenerate.
You have to resummon them, but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually kind of neat. They've had other since then other types of pets that fight too. And I have a mini pet Kel'Thuzad who actually freezes and kills the what do you call it? Just random little critters running around. I'm trying to find which were the other pets. Oh god, these pictures are so old.
Does that make you feel bad?
It does in a way. I mean, it's been a part of my history for so long. So,
can you just imagine? Now, I've been thinking about this. You know how like we had parents or whoever that was like, they see a Spider-Man movie, they're like, well, when I was a kid, I used to collect those all the time.
Yeah.
If I had kept those, I could have retired by now, because obviously they'd be very rare. And now you start to see like Diablo, StarCraft, even Mario, Sonic are hitting their 20th, their 25th anniversary, their 30th anniversary, some. And you're like, oh my god, is it? Do you feel like it's going to be some kind of legacy that keeps going on, or do you think video games might not be as, at least not video games themselves, but video game franchises? Have you thought about that? Would they be, 75 years later, will they still be playing Mario potentially, or
I don't
whatever?
know. I never.
Or you think things will evolve to the point where you won't play those old games anymore?
I mean, with how many years of Final Fantasy are we going on at this point? 30 plus, right? I mean,
yeah, but that's still within the lifespan of one. You have the original generation of fans within that.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. But most of them are our age or a little bit older. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like our parents' age, and they're at, like in their 50s. I think some of these series can stand the test of time. Some can't. I mean, it's gonna be a thing. WoW has made it. What are they on their 12th or 13th year or whatever? I think it's 12th.
WoW
year.
itself,
Yeah,
pretty close. Yeah,
and it's 20 years of lore so far. I don't know. It's definitely not. I don't know. I never thought it was going to go past.
I think it's going to be something like this. Can it jump mediums? Or like Spider-Man has had cartoons, has had video games, has had movies. If they could get potentially a successful movie off the ground, yes, WoW's had some successful comics, not, maybe not on the level of Batman or anything, but they've had some successful comic series and whatnot. I think that's what's going to help it, especially because because it's such a technology dependent form of entertainment. I think and it evolves so rapidly. It's just going to be interesting to see now. Yeah, but with all these anniversaries happening, it just makes me wonder.
It's not going to go away. I don't think. Yeah. What's gonna make the difference is whether or not the creators of such content can be innovative and adjust with the times. Which, I mean, you see some of that crap with the mobile games, and they usually suck because they're like afterthoughts. They're not actually full thought out games. But with the age of VR coming, you could easily see standing in the middle of a freaking field doing battle with some new form of Final Fantasy character or WoW character, for example.
I think the massive multiplayer games will probably be one of those that will be able to adapt easier than, like, say, Mario. Could you imagine trying to play a Mario game in VR, like where you have to sprint? You'd have to either be on the track running and jumping all the time.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, WoW, where you could just walk and it's not really jump heavy.
Right.
Or platforming heavy, I should say. Or marathoning heavy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see where they take these things, though. But definitely, to survive, they'd have to adapt and innovate. I mean, just like every other form of business. But I mean, I know that sounds, I guess, like a standard stagnant answer, but it's kind of time tested.
I mean, it works because it works. Even not necessarily business wise, but just look at all the mythologies that have lasted for centuries.
Well, and think about this. I mean, Mario's not stuck in video games. We've had TV shows and cartoons.
When's the last time we've had a Mario cartoon?
We've had
and look at the movie.
Do you want to know? You want to know when we've had Mario cartoons and the movie and all that? When there weren't a lot of Mario games coming out.
Yeah, I know.
They found a way to keep Mario relevant in the times where there was an absence of games because they don't always put out Mario games.
Well,
we're back to it.
Even series that Mario has no plot to it. Even the most plot heavy of their games like Sunshine or Galaxy, they're not. It's paper thin. Like Mario Sunshine, no court on. Well, I shouldn't say that because there's courts that will kill you if you say the wrong thing. But some of the stuff like it's not paper thin. Now, WoW, for example, or Diablo, which I don't know, or StarCraft, those all have plots that should be able to translate to novels, which they do, to comics, which they do. They seem to be struggling with the movies, and I think that's one of the things that's going to appeal to people the widest, the fastest. Because right now, WoW, you need $60-ish. Obviously, you get free to play up to a certain level. Monthly installments. You've got 20 years of lore to catch up on. But with a movie, everything's right there and condensed. Hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours at a stretch, maybe. Well,
and that's why I thought. That's why I thought the movie was going to be all right because it's basically an abridged version of the story so far, kind of thing. You know what I mean? This is the first chapter.
We're cutting it close on time, but I think the weakest point for the movie is it should have been CGI. I think if they had done CGI, I think that would have made it more easily appealed to people. I don't know. It's kind of weird with that movie. I see when I watched, I was just aware enough of Warcraft lore and still ignorant enough that I could see both sides of the argument. Be like, well, it was really dense for somebody that doesn't know the lore.
Right.
So I can see both ways. But however, my wife, who doesn't really know the Warcraft lore, and I had to explain a lot of stuff after the fact, she still really enjoyed the movie. She actually preferred the orcs over the humans in there because they had the better characteristics. Well, you said you did.
Can't believe your wife's a nasty horde lover. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm a filthy horde, but
no, I got you.
I just imagine Danny DeVito, like, he's telling his kids, your mother is for the horde.
Oh, God. All right. Well, I think that'll wrap it up.
Yeah, that one, I kind of took that one away from where it was supposed to be.
No, it's fine. I mean, that's something to consider, and that's, that'd be a good for a roundtable discussion too, because that's actually a really deep kind of, hey, this is the current state, and where do you think we're gonna go from here? So,
maybe we need to do a sideshow on that one.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, everyone. Well, that's it. Thank you for listening, and please leave us feedback on our episodes on iTunes, Google Play Music, and anywhere else you can get our podcast from. And please like, share, comment, and subscribe to YouTube, where you're currently watching us now, and we're talking to you.
Watching us.
Possibly watching us. And thanks for you in the chat room who stopped by to watch.
Okay. You can contact us at ECG_podcast on Twitter, at our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/ECGpodcast, or our email address at ecgpodcast@gmail.com. Also visit us at our webpage, www.stasisgeek.com. Or like Jeremy said, watch us on here, because he didn't say about comments and it threw my notes off here.
Didn't I?
No, you said watching us, like staring at us.
Oh,
creepily,
yeah.
Like.
My bad. I guess that's all we got for you, and like I said, glad you stopped by. Those that stopped by on the live feed on the YouTube channel. We'll be back next week. Until then, stay geeky.